everyone, and welcome to this week's video. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit subscribe that way and ring the bell. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video. So it is now June 15th when I'm recording this. Today, DVC reopened Vero Beach and Hilton Head. And next Monday, DVC Resorts in Walt Disney World will be reopening as well. So I kind of avoided the whole coronavirus, COVID-19, the closure, because I really didn't want to focus on it. But I've had a lot of questions through social media, especially my Instagram page and some DMs, as far as will we be hitting the parks and when will we be going to Walt Disney World? So that's what I'm going to answer. So as I've mentioned before, we are Disney Vacation Club members. We also live about 3.5 hours from the parks. So it's not a big drive. While it is a destination for us, we don't have to get on a plane. We drive our own car. So it's very, very easy for us to get to Walt Disney World. So the plan at first wasn't to go. We have a 3-night stay in July at Beach Club Villas, which it's 3 nights, but 2 of those nights are rented points so that we could get in at the 11th month mark, because it's really hard to get into Beach Club. We wanted to be able to use the pool there, and so we rented points, and then I was able to add a night through a wait list because at 7 months it was completely booked. So we got a wait list, so we have 3 nights there. So we're kind of stuck there. Like we're not going to get our money back. The resorts are opening, so we're going. We have heard now that Disney has decided that Stormalong Bay will be closed with the initial reopening, and that starts June 22nd. Our trip starts July 26th. So we don't know if Stormalong Bay is even going to be open. I will say, when that news came out, it was just gut-wrenching. We've been planning this trip for a year because we go every July for my birthday, and it was just a really big blow that Stormalong Bay may not be open. I'm hoping that when the resort opens, that Stormalong Bay opens, and I hope that happens around the time the parks open, and that is July 11th and July 15th. So with that being said, we are going in July. We do have one-day park hoppers that right now the word is that you're not going to be able to park hop. So okay, fine. Our plan was to go to Hollywood Studios one day and then to go to Magic Kingdom. So right now, I think if we use those park hoppers, we will just go one day to Hollywood Studios, especially being at Beach Club. It's within walking distance, or we can use the Skyliner if it is open. So we haven't ridden Mickey's Runaway Railway yet, and my son's favorite ride is Tower of Terror. So we are going to Hollywood Studios. Will we buy other tickets? Right now, I don't know if we can, because we don't have any other tickets. Our annual passes expired in December, so we don't have annual passes. We have this one-day park hopper. Our thought was we will decide closer to the date. Well, right now, tickets are not being sold, and we may not be able to buy other tickets. If we're able to buy other tickets, will we buy other tickets? I don't know. And I think that's just kind of an up in the air. I think we will probably wait until October or December to let things kind of open up, but also we'll kind of see when July 11th and July 15th, how those openings are managed, how things are going, if we want to go into the park. I don't like the idea of having to wear a mask the whole time. I have a 4-year-old. He will wear a mask. He won't fight it, but it doesn't stay on very long. It also takes away a little bit of the Disney magic. You know, we go so much, so I don't know how we're going to accept it. So Disney's a lot of money, and even though we're Disney Vacation Club, we don't have to pay for the hotel because it's already paid for. It is a vacation, and it is an expense, and we do have to buy tickets this time, and we do have to buy an annual pass. So I'm not sure if we want to do that right now while masks are required, and we know this is only going to be temporary. The mask requirement is not going to be a long-term thing, so we haven't really decided of whether or not, but I think we're leaning towards no. Now, with that said, we decided at the last minute, literally Saturday, that we are going to go to Disney Vacation Club, to the Disney Resorts in Walt Disney World when they reopen on June 22nd. So next Monday, we will be checking into the Riviera for the first time when they reopen for a 2-night stay. very excited about it. Never stayed there. We missed the opening, the grand opening, by maybe 3 or 4 days from our December trip. So while we saw the resort from the outside, we've never actually gone inside and seen it. And then it closed. Everything closed. So everything's pretty wide open as far as DVC points are right now. Between June 22nd and July 10th, pretty much you can get almost any room, any category in DVC at Walt Disney World right now, which is unheard of. So the fact that it was open, we are going to go. Everything in the world going on right now, we needed a little vacation, and we felt what a great way to go. And when we don't have, it's a great staycation because we won't have the draw of the parks, like, ooh, Magic Kingdom is right there, we want to go to Magic Kingdom. We can't because it's closed, so it's not even an option. So since we're headed to Orlando, it looks like we may be adding on a night because our son is 4.5 and he's all of a sudden into Transformers. So my husband was like, had this great idea. Why don't we go to Universal Studios? He's now tall enough. He hit 42 inches in December. And so he's now tall enough for a large amount of rides at Universal Studios. So we are thinking about adding on a night and going up on Sunday, hitting Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure on Monday for the first time, and then heading to the Riviera. So it looks like that's what we're going to do. Now, you do have to wear a mask at Universal. But for us, Universal's different. Universal is there. You're there for the attractions. I've been to Universal. I haven't been to Universal in 9 years. So we just haven't. When we started trying to have a baby, and then we had our son, and he just wasn't big enough, so we just hadn't taken him. I love Universal. We love roller coasters, so it was one of our favorite parks. One of our very first dates was a trip to Islands of Adventure, but it's just something we haven't done in a long time. With that said, Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, it doesn't have that Disney magic, and so I don't think and plus we haven't experienced with our son, so we don't know anything different, and there's going to be a lot of things that we can't do just because he's smaller, and we're only going to be able to be there for a short period of time because there's not a lot of things he can do. So I think wearing the mask is going to, I guess, affect us less than it would at Walt Disney World, where Walt Disney World, we've experienced it without all the restrictions and the masks, and I don't think I think it would affect us more at Walt Disney World because we know what it's like without it, so we would be able to compare with Universal. It wouldn't be such much of a comparison. Another thing we're thinking about is getting their annual pass, because we are going in July to Walt Disney World. We don't know if we can buy tickets right now. So if it's raining and Storm Island Bay is closed, we're in the Beach Club Villas with nothing to do. So we're going to go to Hollywood Studios one day, but we're going to have 2 other days there. So we're thinking about, right now, we're contemplating purchasing the seasonal pass at Universal Studios. It's $270 for Florida residents, so it's pretty, it's pretty inexpensive. Plus, right now, if you purchased it between now and September 30th, they're actually giving you 3 months free. So it's 15 months for the price of 12. And usually July is a blackout for the lowest. I think it's called a seasonal pass. So July is usually blacked out. But this year, because of everything going on, they have actually lifted that July blackout period for 2020. So we can get this seasonal pass and go not only for 15 months, but we can go in July if we decide not to go to any of the Disney parks. So that's something we're thinking about right now. I think a lot will depend what happens in the next couple of days. I'm watching a lot of vloggers, watching everybody's reports on how it's going on with Universal, but right now the park looks empty. So it really looks like a really great opportunity to go for the first time with our son. So we do have 2 other trips planned for 2020. We have a 4-night trip planned in October of this year, and our long annual, I think 8 to 9 days. This year we have 9 nights for December for our son's birthday. So right now we are definitely planning on going in December. I think a lot will have to not change for us not to cancel the whole trip. I think if let's say December there's another outbreak or something happens, then maybe we would shorten it, but we would probably still go for a couple days. Maybe not 9 nights, maybe we would shorten it to 5, but we would still go. October though is up in the air. And the reason why we were going in October was for 2 things. One, the Moonlight Magic, which is a private membership only event for DVC members, and that's on, I think it's October 6th is one of the dates, and that's at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Right now it's not canceled, but they also have been canceling other ones, and personally I'm expecting it to be canceled. If it happens, great, but I'm not really that optimistic about it. The other thing we were planning on going is for the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. We were going to go October 4th. We have not bought tickets yet. Again, right now they're saying it is happening. If you have tickets, they are valid. We have not bought tickets for it. So we don't know if they're going to open it up for tickets. Are tickets still going to be sold? Is it going to happen? And honestly, I don't know if Disney even knows at this point. I think everything's up in the air. They're trying to be very cautious with their opening, and I totally respect it, and I think that's why I feel safe going to Disney World. But right now, so that October trip, we really have to make a decision before 31 days. We can cancel up into 31 days with the points not affecting. We have an August use year. I'm probably going to do a video on Disney Vacation Club because I haven't, but that's a whole other, and if you don't know what use year is, it's just, but our points won't expire for our 2020 points won't expire until July 31st of 2021. So we have time to use them. So right now that October trip is really up in the air. Another thing we're thinking of is if we get these annual passes at Universal, we may just switch and go to Cabana Bay, stay 4 nights there, and do a lot of Universal. Again, depends on how much our son likes Universal, but that's the other thing too. So we are considering that as well. So that October trip, I would say it's 50-50 at this point. If we go and if we stay on Disney property, December 95% we're going. It may be shorter, just depending on how things are, but that's where it is. So again, the question that I've been asked is, should I go to Walt Disney World? And the answer is, it depends. First of all, do you have anybody in your family that's high risk? Anybody you're immediately traveling with? If you do, don't go. Don't take the risk. If you have an elderly parent or grandparent that lives with you or you see a lot, then yeah, probably not, because you don't want to expose yourself and get them the risk. We will probably self-quarantine or keep our minimum exposure to any elderly relatives when we return, just to be cautious. But, we're willing to, go, be cautious. Again, we don't have to get on a plane. We have to drive. But I think you have to make that decision for yourself. We're pretty cautious when we're around, going in our community, but we also want to live our life. And we're all healthy. I know people that have had COVID. My son's school teacher had COVID, and it's no joke. It's definitely, I had a friend from college whose father almost died from it. And he's been in therapy, I think, for I guess 2 months now. So it's definitely very serious, not messing around with it. But at the same time, I want to live my life, and I want our son to enjoy it with, being cautious. So should you go? I would say is if you've gone to Disney World before, then and you're fine with spending the money and having a little less magic, then go for it. But if it's your first time, wait until 2021. Wait until things start to really open up. Right now there's only one character meal, and my guess is they haven't announced how it's going to be modified, but my guess is the characters are probably going to come out, do a little dance, and then just kind of wave from afar. If it's your first time bringing your child to see the characters, they're going to want to give them a hug. So I probably wouldn't do that for your first time. We've actually thinking about, because it's at the Riviera, we've thought about, do we want to do that? And trying to explain to our son, how do we explain to him that he can't go and hug them? So we're still unsure. We're probably leaning towards not doing it, just because the price is still pretty expensive, and to not have that interaction, for us, it may not be worth it. So, but I think everybody has to make their own decision of what's, first of all, what can you afford? And are you okay with less magic? I think I feel safe going to Disney World. The videos that I've watched from Universal, everybody seems to be respecting social distancing and the mask rule. Again, you just have to make those decisions for yourself. So, should you go? Yeah, I think it's really up to you. For us, we're going to go this next trip next week. I will be posting videos showing you what it's like, showing you what it's like to be around. We do plan to go to Disney Springs and what it's like around the resort. You got to wear your mask around the resort. What is that like? It's Florida. It's hot. So especially when it rains, after that rain and the humidity, it's stuffy. So we don't really know what to expect. So I think I'm going to be reporting on that, kind of giving you my 2 cents. And seeing, what it's like. But at the end of the day, if you feel comfortable going and wearing a mask and putting up with the heat, then go for it. If you're fine with a little less magic and you can come back quite a bit, then go for it. But again, if it's your first trip or you can only afford to come every 2 years and you can postpone it, then postpone it. Because I think, I compare it to if this was our only trip to Disneyland. We've only been to Disneyland once. We went in January 2019. We plan to go again, but I compare it that right now, I don't want to make a trip out to Disneyland because it's a 5-hour flight for 3 of us. We have to rent a car, get the hotel. It's an expensive trip. Right now, I would not want to go to Disneyland because it just wouldn't be the value for us. So that's my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. Again, I don't know if it helps you or, just make an informed decision and do what's best for you. And I guess what I could say is just kind of go with the flow because I think at this point, that's really all we can do. So hope that helps. Make sure you check in next week. I'm going to be posting videos from if we go to Universal Studios, I'll post a video from Universal Studios, but I also will be posting updates from our trip at the Riviera. I will also be going on Instagram, so definitely check out my Insta story. I am mrs.shannon.ford, or you can also find me at Disney Days Family on Instagram, and definitely find me because I will be posting Insta stories and then I will be posting videos. So make sure you hit subscribe, ring the bell, and then follow me on Instagram to get updates for next week. Until then, see you all. Bye.